Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I compare the 1995 and 1996 Fleer Ultra baseball sets. The reason I want to do this video is the 95 and 96 sets, sometimes you have some date confusion on the cards. The dates on the front can be a little difficult to read, and the dates on the back can be a little bit misleading. Originally, I wanted to do one video that looked at 95 and 96 together, and I realized that there was an entire video for 95, an entire video for 96, and doing a compare and contrast was just, it was going to be way too much. So instead I broke it down into 3 different videos, this being the third video where I show you how to tell the difference between each of the 2 sets. And I wanted to do it because it really is confusing when you go through. The way that I was able to verify which one is which is I broke out the Beckett and I looked at the card number association between the cards that I had and the cards in the Beckett just to anchor it, just to make sure, because it really can get kind of confusing. So that's what this video is about. This is entirely intended to help you to know which one is which. And I'm going to do the video in 4 different parts. The first part is just looking at the 95 set and the 96 set, the difference between them. It's not a deep diagnosis into the sets, so I'm not going into the details of the history of the set, why it's designed that way, just the way the cards look so that when you pick up a card, you know which one is which. So first one is just looking at the 2 sets, 95 and 96 proper, and their checklists. Then I'm going to be looking at the individual inserts for 1995, the ones that were not reused style or theme-wise for 1996. Then I'm going to look at the standalone 96 inserts, and then I'm going to look at the inserts that they made a set in both 1995 and a set in 1996, so you can see which one is which. And I am going to have the 95 on the left side and the 96 is going to be on the right side in all of these cases. So you will be able to see which one is which. So, since we've got to go through all this, let's go ahead and start again with the actual sets. So the 95 set is, this is kind of misleading for anybody who's coming into baseball from one of the other sports. Because in 1995, they kicked off Ultra with a baseball design that they did not reuse in football. They changed it in football, and then in basketball, they continued what they'd done in football. And by the time they got around to the baseball set in 1996, they were still using that same theme. So if you're a football or a basketball collector and you come into baseball, understand the years are kind of swapped in a way. That's just the way that it is. So that's just kind of keep that in mind. But the 95 design for baseball, full bleed card, but it has a little box, a 2-part box at the bottom with the player name. And one part of the name is in additive text, the other is in subtractive text. So they have an inverted way that the text is written between the first name and the last name. And all of these cards have a team-based foil color. So the card set has a whole bunch of different foils, and every single team has 2 different foils that are used on their cards. A player has either one color or the other. That's the way that it is set up through the entire set. So there's no consistency throughout the set, but the teams have 1 of 2 colors for each one of the players. And the parallel for this set is that they replaced the Ultra logo with an Ultra Gold Medallion logo. So for those of us in the other sports, that's the way the inserts were done. Here, that's the way the whole set was done. For 1996, they have a card that looks very similar on the front, except down at the bottom, they have a thinner box for the text. They don't play any tricks with it, and it's all silver. So for the 96 set, they don't have team color foil. That's the easiest way to tell, but also the really delicate nature of the foil at the bottom. And then the parallel, like I said, is a solid foil card for every single card in the set. And along the same lines, they actually have 2 subsets in 1996, and in 95 they had no subsets. Now 95 did have some checklists in the set. For 1996, they did the checklist as standalones. A player on the front, and then the checklist is on the back. And they have 2 different sets of checklists with different color foil for the checklist word down at the bottom. So that's the way it is. 95, the checklists are in the set. 96, they are standalone inserts with players on the front. So that is the way that both sets were built. And that's the difference between them. And every single card in both sets has a gold medallion parallel, with one exception, and that leads me into the 1995 standalone inserts. And the first one is actually a send-away, which is the gold medallion rookies. And the gold medallion rookies are designed exactly the same as the regular 95 card set cards, except they all have the gold medallion logo on it, which means there are no regular Ultra logos for the gold medallion rookies. This one small set of cards, every single card comes only with the gold medallion logo because that's the whole theme. So these are the unique cards where they just made this version of the card. Then we launch into the inserts for 1995, the actual inserts in packs, and we start off with the 3A inserts, starting with all rookie. So the all rookie cards are, kind of a big mess. This is a standalone set for 1995 that they did not repeat in 1996. Likewise, the All-Star cards. And the All-Star cards, again, all of these come with the parallels. So the All-Star cards, this was a theme that was only for 1995, and a better card design. And then also the award winner cards. These cards were also only done for 1995. It's a theme that just was not repeated in 1996. Now, likewise, they also did a League Leaders set in 1995. So these were all essentially holdovers from 93, 94, 95. This was a tradition that Ultra had been following, and then in 96 they had abandoned all of this. So this was the last hurrah for all of these different inserts. And along the same lines, we have second year standouts. This again was the last time that they would do this insert set. And this particular insert set actually is embossed. So it's actually it's a really cool card for what the Ultra was doing at this time. It is very unique in the fact that it has that. But this was only a 1995 insert set, as well as Strikeout Kings. Strikeout Kings was the last set that the 95 set had. The 96 set they never got around to using it. And that leads me into the 1996 cards. So for the first card set that they did just for 1996 that they did not do in 1995, Caldwell Hall is a card set, obviously, of a bunch of legends. It's a card that is kind of art designed the way that it is approached, and it's actually a pretty nice card. Then they also have Diamond Producers, and Diamond Producers looks like it should be in 1994. I mean, it really does look that way. And oh my word, it has a whole lot of holofoil on the surface of the card. This card almost looks like it should be a parallel, but it's not. This is just the way that the card comes. And then they also have Fresh Faces. So Fresh Faces is the 1996 equivalent of the 1995 all-rookie team to an extent. That's kind of the way that it worked. And to me, this also looks like a 94 card. So understand, Diamond Producers and Fresh Faces, these are actually 1996 Ultra insert cards. Again, all of these cards also come with the gold medallion parallel. And these gold medallion parallels, for all of the inserts, they are done without the whole gold foil on the card back. The only place to see that is in the 1996 regular set parallel cards. That's the only place you see it. Again, not even the checklist, just the main cards in that set. Then they have their prime leather cards. And this is a card that has a textured surface. So it's a very distinct card, and it has kind of a weathered textured quality to it. So that's the way that the card comes. And then they also had another card that was it was called Rawhide, that also used a textured surface for leather. But in this case, it was designed like new leather rather than old leather. So both of those sets are 1996 sets. Make sure that you don't get confused by the fact that they are actually in the same set, because they can look like they're supposed to be in separate years, but they're not. They're in the same year. And there is a Cal Ripken Jr. card that's very similar to the Prime Leather card, very similar. It's also 1996, so that's the way that all of these come. Then they also had I'd like to say kind of an ambitious card in Respect. Now, Respect has the same relief approach that they used in the previous year's second year standout stars, but in this case they have the relief, but they also have a holofoil with a prismatic star effect in it, which just looks really, really, really cool. Love the way these cards come out. So this was a very distinct card set in 1996. It just looks great. And then they also have season crowns, and season crowns, well, so there are two sets that use acetate, and they're both in 1996. So that's just something to keep in mind. Season crowns is the second of those two. We'll get to the other one in a minute. And then Thunderclap is the last insert set that they did in 1996 that was unique only to 1996. And when I say unique to 96, I don't mean that they didn't appear in 97. Some of these actually did, including Thunderclap. I'm just saying that these are the ones that did not appear in 1995. And on top of that, 1997, I think that's all pretty distinctly 1997. I don't think there's any confusion between 96 and 97. But like I said, 95 and 96, you can get some confusion. Which leads me to the question of, okay, so what about the inserts that appeared in 1995 and then the same theme was used in 1996? And how can we tell, or how can we remember one versus the other? And the first one is Golden Prospects. Now this is different from the Gold Medallion Rookies because this is basically kind of the same thing, but this is a set that is designed to look at exciting young players coming up. And Golden Prospects in 1995 is a horizontal card it's got some boxiness, and it's kind of a complex card, but complex in a boxy kind of way. They've got a bunch of things going on, but it's a very rigid card. That's not the case for 1996. In 96, they have a super busy card where you have just an image over the entire card back with the player superimposed. It's a consistent theme of a bunch of stuff layered together with a big gaudy logo on it that is too much, and it's perfectly fine. I love the way that this card comes together, but understand that the 95 card, while it seems kind of busy, it's a blocky affair that actually has kind of a cleanliness that you don't see in 96. But 96 actually has two different Golden Prospect sets. So there's that one, and then there's also the acetate card. So this is the other acetate card. And this also has a lot going on because it has a bunch of text kind of layered into the acetate that has a cool spectral effect that I had a difficult time capturing in the camera. So 1995 Golden Prospects, there's only one set, and it's a very clean design. 1996, they have two. One of them is the full image background with the big, almost a 1994 type logo. And then it also has an acetate card, which is the other Golden Prospects for 1996. So that's what the 96 cards are. They also reused hitting machines. And in both cases, hitting machines is a horizontal card. But in 1995, it's a straightforward card. A horizontal card that is, it's kind of a cool card. I mean, overly busy, but this is the easiest one to tell the difference because the 95 card is just a card. In 96, it's die cut. And setting everything else aside, just the fact that it's die cut makes it more than clear which one is 1996. So again, 95, it has just that hitting machine text behind it. 96 is die cut. Then they have Home Run Kings. And Home Run Kings for 1995, again, it's kind of a boxy card. But card is really the key to the difference with these two. So 1995 is card, because in 96, they did this with wood grain. They actually have wood grain over the surface. Now there are 3 versions of this card, and not all of them have wood grain surface, but they're all designed to have wood grain surface. So regardless, they all look like they're wood on the front. So the difference here is very easy. One's a traditional card, the 95 is a traditional card, and 96 is a wood grain card. Then they have the most confusing of all of these, which is On Base Leader. And the 95 card for On Base Leader is a two-tone color fade, and it has a whole bunch of little things all over the place. That's the way that the 95 card is designed. The 96 card is a very clean card, and either one of these cards could appear in either one of the sets. But understand, the 95 card is the two-tone fade with a bunch of stuff on it. The 96 card is the much cleaner presented card. So that's the difference. Just this one is pretty tricky. Then they have Power Plus, and Power Plus is another really confusing one. 1995 is a vertical card, and it is etched metal. And then in 1996, they had a horizontal card, also etched metal. So again, 95 vertical, 96 horizontal for Power Plus. Straightforward, pretty easy to go with. And then for RBI Kings, the 95 card is a very, very clean, simplistic card. Now this one can be kind of confusing because this 95 card is very similar to the 1996 Fresh Faces card. They're done in kind of a similar way. The Fresh Faces card is a more creative one, but that is a 96. The 95 RBI Kings card really doesn't look like it belongs in the 95 set at all, but this is the way it's designed. The 96 RBI Kings card could, again, just like On Base Leaders, this could be either set, but 96 is the one that has a little bit more of a busyness to it. Then they have their Rising Stars, and Rising Stars for 1995, this is another etched metal card, or etched foil card, and this card is horizontal and it's very lively and it's etched foil. For 1996, I mean, it's not. It's vertical and it's not an etched foil card. Pretty simple. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the 95 RBI Kings, which again, that's some of the confusion. So for the Rising Stars, 95 is a horizontal card with etched foil. 1996 is just a straightforward card. That's the way it works. And that is the comparison between 95 and 96. That's how you can tell which one is which. So if you do end up with a card and you're not entirely sure, you can use this guide to figure it all out. And yeah, because these are the kinds of videos that is the reason I created this channel. I want to be able to make sure that it all comes out very clear, that you can actually see one versus the other. So this is the guide if you need to use a guide. Other than that, yeah, that should be about all I really need to go into with all of this. And hopefully I don't need to do this much in the future, because it is really frustrating when they do something that gets this level of confusion. And with these two sets, they really do. So I hope that this is useful for some of you guys at some point. It'd be nice to know that I'm actually able to help some people out with some of these videos, which is, again, the whole reason I created the channel. If you haven't watched either the 95 or the 96 Ultra set to really get a feel for the set and how it came about, check those out, because I haven't made all of those. Those are sitting around ready to be watched if they haven't been. Definitely check out my other videos if you haven't had a chance to do so, and do subscribe and ring the bell in order to get notified. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.